Hi, this is Subramaniam from IEEE UK. So I'm back to you after a long time. Yeah. Now we're going to have a look at the topic actually called as an secret splitting or bit splitting. In the information security, the people who have attended IEEE class on CISSP or CCSP, they would have come across a term actually called as an split knowledge. Now, split knowledge, dual control, these are the fundamental concepts that we actually discuss for the information security. Now, what is a split knowledge actually? Okay, so no single person in the organization is going to have a knowledge about a password or a secret code, etc. Okay, this is actually called as a split knowledge. Now, in 2002, I was actually working for one of the biggest banks in the world, and we had a tool called Global Password Management System. What actually happens is um, um, if you want to resolve a particular incident, or if you want to implement a change, or if you want to implement, or if you want to fulfill a request, okay, in lines with ITIL, and you need to retrieve the password for the privileged account. So it's a password manager. Now we have, and in 2002, okay, the industry was not 2 decades back. So industry was not so mature to have a privileged account manager tool, though they were, but it is not the usage of those tools were not so popular. Okay, like how it is in 2022, 2021, these years. And we use this tool, and what usually happens is whenever there is an severity incident which demands a password for the administrator of the root, the IT team will supply the incident reference number, or let's say a service request reference number or change reference number, and they used to fetch the password, and they resolve the incident, okay, or they implement a change or fulfill the request. Now, after that, they close the incident, and one of the person from security will put in one half of the password, okay, and the maybe from India, okay, the other half is actually entered by the security team or anybody, okay, IT team also in Malaysia, from Malaysia or Singapore. Now, mutually, they do not know each other. Okay. Now, we cannot keep on asking who has put in the other half the password. Now, when I say one half, it doesn't mean that, okay, it's going to be the first half. Okay. The first person who's going to enter it will be the first half, and second person who's going to enter it will become the second half. It can be anything. Okay. But at any point of time, okay, no single person in the organization knows the complete password. This is actually called as a secret splitting. Secret splitting. Now, how efficient is this process? This process is not efficient if you don't do an audit review the next day. Why? Because if I'm an malicious insider, okay, is one of the threats for the cloud security. If you're a malicious insider, what I can actually do is I can fetch the password, giving in the incident reference number or service request reference number or the change reference number. I can log on to the system as an administrator or root or administrator equivalent or root equivalent. I can create an account which is admin equivalent or root equivalent, and I can log off. So the next time, if there's an incident or a service request fulfillment to be done or a change to be implemented, I don't need to request for the password for the privilege ID. No. Now, how can I catch hold of this? Or how can I have somebody to stop this? Next day, the security team should review, okay, do what is called the post-implementation review, the logs that are available on the server. And what you can do is, if there's a new privilege account created on the server, okay, we can have an alert on the SIM. So this way, we can make this process more efficient. Now, I'm not discussing about whether the process is efficient or not, but sharing or splitting the password between multiple people, okay, it need not be two, it can be 3 or 4 also, no problem. The objective here is to ensure that the password for the privilege account is not known to an individual. That is actually called as a secret splitting. Now, what is bit splitting? It has got nothing to do with secret splitting, but because we have a splitting here, okay, I took this as an opportunity to use this term also. Now, secret splitting is more towards your traditional security, cloud security, etc. But the bit splitting, okay, is more popular on the cloud security. Now, what is bit splitting? Now the cloud also gives me a provision to store the data, okay, or fragment the data and then store it at multiple locations. Now there's also a term called data sharding, okay, which is going to be dividing or fragmenting the data and storing it in multiple locations. When I say multiple locations, multiple cloud data centers. For example, I'm a CSP and I have a data center DC1, DC2, DC3, DC4, and DC5. Now I have a data D. Okay, what I will do is D, I will divide it by N. Okay, what is the number of data centers? I have 5 data centers. So D1 or F1, fragment 1, fragment 2, fragment 3, fragment 4, and fragment 5 is going to be in DC1, DC2, 3, 4, and 5 respectively. Now, before I start storing this fragment, what I will do is I will encrypt these fragments and store it on the location. Now, what is the advantage for me? In case one of the data center has an intruder, okay, and if there is an attempt for a disclosure, okay, the disclosure will not reveal the actual, it will not disclose the actual data. Okay, what is the disclosure? Opposite of confidentiality. So I can break the identification through spoofing and authentication through brute force, dictionary attack, rainbow table, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we discussed a lot about this in another video. And there's always dictionary. We can go a checklist and look at the password or calculate the hash of the password without the timestamp, okay, and see whether it's matching. So authentication can also be broken. Fake login screen is also possible. The browser exploitation framework on the Kali Linux. Okay, and authorization can be bypassed. Creep, horizontal authorization creep, vertical authorization creep. Then we have session hijacking, etc. Okay. Now so identification can be broken, authentication can be broken, authorization can also be broken, or may be broken rather. But if you want to have a look at the data, if I'm an intruder, I look at the data is encrypted. Okay, now it is next to impossible to decrypt if the key is not known. If that is so easy to decrypt the data, okay, then encryption doesn't have value. No, it's not that easy. So what is the bit splitting? I'm an intruder, I log on, or I hack, I compromise and use an account, I log on to a data center, I have a look at the data. Now, two things. One is the data is encrypted, so it is not disclosed. Other thing is it's not the complete data. It is one portion of the jigsaw puzzle. So there are two challenges for me. One, the data is not the plain text. The other one is not the complete data. So it's going to be useless for me. So this is on the secret splitting and bit splitting. Stay connected to my channel. A lot of videos on cloud security, traditional security in line with CCSP, CISSP, CISM. Okay, all this on your way. Stay connected. Cheers and thank you very much.